Okay, so if we could call to order this work session on March 5th at 4:03 p.m., please. With that, we know who everybody's here because we don't have roll call. We're ready to start discussing the packet. We'll start with some minutes. We have the joint work session. Joint work session between the Township and the EIC on February 18th. Does anybody have any comments or questions for Zach? Or not Zach, I don't know where that came from, Josh. Sorry. Ooh, Zach. New nickname.
We'll roll with it.
Okay. I just had a couple, I guess, underneath the discuss properties available for sale at the end. We say the Economic Development Director and the EIC will create, and it says form for sale of property, and then it says update map with properties for sale currently. I think what it should say is, and the EIC will create criteria for a letter of interest or, something to that extent. And then we're actually asking them to create a map or update a map with township owned properties, not necessarily that are going to be for sale, but just township owned properties, just so that we have the list of all the properties. And then when we go to discuss them, everybody knows where those are. So I just think we need to be careful that we're not identifying properties on there that we don't potentially want to or know if we want to sell yet. So those would be my suggested changes. I don't know if anybody else has anything. No?
Sounds good to me.
Keep going.
All right, everybody good with those changes? Or do you think that's, I feel that more represents what we just decided.
Yeah, I feel that homes in on more what we wanted out of it than just the generalized.
Okay. Then moving on to work session meeting minutes from February 19th, although it says February 19th on the agenda, and I'm looking, where am I? Oh, I'm on the wrong sheet. Yep, the 19th, sorry. So the other one, the 18th? Yeah, okay, so the 19th. I didn't have anything on that one.
Was Mr. Cummings absent? I thought he was late, but he did show up, didn't he?
He's here. Yep.
On the 19th.
Oh, on the 19th.
He did.
Yep, he was there.
What's listed is he's present and absent both.
Right.
Oh, I didn't even say. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to comment, but I didn't want to make it sounded like you're making a personal statement of my mental capacity.
You were in and out.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I think you were in a little bit late, but yeah. Okay, so just change it to present, or remove the absent part, I guess. Right. Yep. Okay.
Got him.
Great. Anything else on that one? Okay. February 22nd meeting minutes. Anybody notice anything on those?
Well, I have several that I think we have the wrong support and motion people on the list.
Okay.
For the Huron Shores Arts Hall, the counteroffer, I had it that Jamie made the motion and Josh supported.
For the counter?
For rejecting the counteroffer.
Okay.
From Mr. Eiler?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought Jamie McGuire put that was the one that made that motion, and I don't remember who seconded it.
Well, I generally write them down as we're doing it, and I had Jamie made the motion and Josh supported it.
Okay, great. We'll check on that one. And I honestly don't write down, so I'm too busy looking at people coming in and out of meetings and whatever else. So I'm
okay. I thought maybe you did write that down since you generally repeat who made the motion and who seconded.
Right. I'm just,
Anyway.
yeah, I had notes that day, but I probably got rid of them. So.
Then on the Friedman listing agreement revision, I had Jeremy had made the motion and Steve had supported that motion.
Okay, but we can definitely go back and listen to that section of the tape too. Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry, back to the Artisan Hall. We're saying that it was McGuire and Sutton.
Yes.
Okay, and then on Friedman listing agreement.
It was Spencer made the motion, Worcesterbroth supported.
Okay. Okay.
And then on the EIC Township joint work session, potential action items, it was Mr. Spencer that made the motion, and I believe Ann, you supported.
Okay. Okay. All right. There's background noise in Josh's office, FYI, because he's still open. Okay.
And then the last one was the resolution, the commitment of funds, the IET. That I had it that Jamie had made the motion and I supported.
Okay. Okay. So
Bill, are you able to email me those? Because you got them across 3 different ones there. I'm trying to keep up. But
I got it.
Thank you.
Yep. And I'll listen to the meeting minutes, or I listen to the tape to make sure. Not that I don't trust your note taking, Mr. Palmer. Although I just said I got it and I didn't write down the resolution. So could you tell me what that one was? Was Jamie, right?
The resolution 2021-03. Jamie made the motion. I supported.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other comments on those meeting minutes?
A new station alert.
That was all I had on those. The rest of them, everything looked okay.
Okay.
I have a question about the outcome of one of them, but not necessarily changing the minutes themselves. Is now the time for that?
Sure. Although all of a sudden you don't have a face, just your arm is showing. It's a little bit weird. There you go.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Creepy. It was doing that to us in all the virtual meetings. These backgrounds they're cool, but they have their fallacy as well. Okay. Then the heating and cooling on the treasurer's office, I don't see that on the new agenda. And I know that we talked about getting some quotations. I was looking for an update on that in the meeting on Monday as to what the quotations were that we received, and so that we could maybe get one of those approved and get this moving. And I don't see it on the agenda at all.
We're still working on trying to secure some quotes.
What's the holdup?
Contractors.
I was going to say probably getting contractors. I know I saw one of them here. I saw Goyette here one day, but I'm sure trying to get any of them this time of the year is a little bit difficult. But right. I did see Goyette one day. So.
And they have to be the contractor has to be HVAC approved or licensed in order to install one of these units.
Yes.
So this isn't something. I mean, since it's just basically plug it in,
no.
We're not. They're more involved than that.
Because it's a public structure, they have to be licensed.
Okay, I didn't know if any of our staff members had some kind of license for that, since they're maintaining the boilers and all that fun stuff.
They are not.
Okay. Any other questions on those meeting minutes? We'll check on those. I'll check on the tapes, Bill, just to verify.
Yeah, okay. Like I say, I generally I have always done that. I don't know why. Yeah. I've done it in the past, even not just now, but I just write them down on my sheet of paper, and I could make a mistake. You know, I could make a mistake. It's possible, but that's what I had on my list. So just double check.
Yep, and I will next moving forward. I'll keep my chicken scratch of my notes, because I usually, like you said, I have to repeat them back, and I have some days a better memory than others, and I definitely need to write those down usually.
I can relate to that.
Yeah. So okay. Right, so we're good with the meeting minutes. I mean, when I say good, we have no questions on them. We're just going through things right now. So now we're on to payment of bills. Are there any questions? And again, Jane is on the line if we have questions. We have a prepaid run dated March 2nd for about 140,000, almost 141. Any questions on any of those?
I have a couple.
Okay.
One is just a comment. If you look at page 18 of the packet, it's Department 299 unallocated. There is a charge there from Setkawiak City Sewer Cleaners to clean the storm sewer on Mission Street in the amount of $3,675. This is the reason that we submitted a bill that the Air Force is supposed to be paying us a monthly fee for using our storm sewer system. Last I knew, and maybe Jane would know if those payments, if they have started making those payments. Last I knew, they had not. And we have been, I've had a conversation with Congressman Kildee to ask him to, when he meets with the Air Force, to bring that subject up. Roe put together a price list of what it should be for the fee for the use of the Mission Street plant. They are pumping a lot of water out of that. And what happened was if that storm sewer plugs up, that floods that whole area over there in the villages. So,
right.
And that's one of the reasons that the Air Force is supposed to be paying us for use of that storm sewer system, because we have to maintain it. We've offered to turn it over to them so they could maintain it while they're using it, because they're going to be using it for a lot of years. They've refused to do that. So subsequently, we're operating it. And so they're supposed to be paying us a monthly fee to do that. And I don't believe they have, we sent that proposal that Roe put together for a reasonable cost, and they were going to have their engineers look at it. And that was probably a year and a half ago.
Right. I do remember, well, this has been an ongoing issue. I mean, when I was employed here, it was as well. And I remember reading that you guys were trying to get that with the Air Force to get them to pay. I was actually on a Zoom call last week, I think. It's a monthly update PFAS thing with like Eagle and Air Force and a bunch of other stuff. Mm-hmm. And at the end, we went around and I actually brought that same subject up and to the Air Force, indicating that, that we are still continuing to have issues and we need to address that. And I got a follow-up email the next day from the Air Force, or I should say that evening, to make sure that they had the right contact information for me. And then they indicated that, we would be having a discussion, but we have not yet. But I'm going to definitely start pushing forward on that, because I hear you. It's going to be decades of cleanup here. And I know they tried to use the argument before that flushing that water through, helps to clean it out. But I know there's arguments that it actually deteriorates the pipe faster, the longevity goes down. And then actually when you're putting that much water through, then it's feeding the roots. It's just like a magnet for every root to go towards, because you're putting, I don't forgot how many. Mitch knows, I think, quoted at the crazy amount of gallons per day that goes through there.
300 GPM.
So it's a lot.
GPM.
3,000 gallons per minute?
No, 300 GPM.
Oh, 300.
Yeah,
okay. 300
gallons a minute.
That's still quite a bit.
And this cleaning was due to root infiltration, which I get. It's my understanding this is a problem that's been in this vicinity for a number of years.
Yep.
So honestly, long term, that section of the storm sewer should probably be torn out and redone.
Right. Either redone or lined or whatever.
We're talking about every connection point between pipes sections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because remember that was put in by the Air Force probably almost 100 years ago.
Right.
So
It's
Right.
probably clay tile product.
Yeah, and if the Air Force wasn't putting in 300 gallons a minute into that drain, we wouldn't have a problem.
Right. I mean, it's quote unquote stormwater, not quote unquote water treatment plan.
So we've been asking the Air Force to pay to utilize our sewer systems that we are maintaining for over a year, and they're just dragging their feet.
That's correct.
Yeah, their argument is they've been using that Mission Street plant for years, and we never charged them.
Right.
Well, I mean,
they're saying that since we didn't charge them in the past, we shouldn't charge them now. Well, that's ridiculous.
Right. Well, it's in the documents that we're supposed to allow them to. It's in their IRP stuff, but still, you know, I mean, now with the GAC plants and the additional water that's being discharged, I mean, it's just, you know, something that's going to have to be addressed.
So is this something that we should probably, I mean, if it's been over a year and they're just refusing to do it, why don't we just disable their ability to do so? We own it, just collapse that section of the tunnel and say, well, figure it out, guys, because we've been asking you.
You can't stop the treatment. So if you did that, then they would not be able to treat the water that they're right now, you know, removing.
This is the PFAS cleaning.
Yeah, the PFAS cleaning. So we would be hindering that. So we don't want to do that. But
I mean, they would still they're still going to have to clean it. They would just have to figure out where else to put their wastewater.
Right.
So I mean,
we would be the source of hindering it. Is the point she's making?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't want to be the ones who are creating an obstacle for them.
Right. An excuse or anything else. So we just need to get them. And I think there's some new people. There's some new players from the sounds of it with the Air Force. Yeah. Not saying that they'd be better or worse, but there's 2 new people. And they seemed, you know, when I mentioned it, I mean, I'm, you know, again, going on a 5-second conversation, they seemed willing to talk. So I say, I was going to get the information that we submitted and re-engage and see where we can get.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. This is something that, because we went around and around with them on the Arrow Street plant when they built that new plant on Arrow Street.
Right.
For them to use the storm sewer there, and they give us a hard time. Eventually, they did start paying on that. Now, I don't know if maybe Jane would know if they've continued to send their payments in monthly on that. I know they did fall behind at one point, but
we do receive a payment of $2,420 every month.
Okay, that would be for that's for the Mission Street or the Arrow Street plant.
Arrow Street.
Okay.
For the new one, the one that's over by the community center, the new plant.
Yeah, it does say storm sewer, Skeel, and Arrow.
Yeah, sorry, the old community center. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
But they're
I don't know of any other payment. No.
Yeah, they're not paying on the Mission Street.
Okay. Well, we'll I'll dig back that have Mitch pull that information back out again that Roe put together, and we'll send it to those 2 new people. I'm drawing a blank. I think her name was Carolyn, and I don't know. I have it written down what his name is, but we'll re-engage. But I did bring it up. I did bring it up at the meeting, you know, with all the other callers on there, and there was a representative from RAB that I had never. Was there a Rex? Sorry.
Rex Vaughn.
Yeah, he was on.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was just something that was in there, and I wanted to make the board aware of, you know, the problems we've had with the Air Force in trying to get this payment, because, you know, it's quite possible that we will incur. I mean, this was $3,600. That we can, you know, like Mitch says, if we have to tear that whole line out of there and replace it, it's going to be a lot more than $3,600.
Yeah.
So that's where we need to have that payment coming in on a monthly basis, so that, you know, we have funds to be able to take care of that line.
Right.
The only other question I had on the payment of bills is actually one that's missing, and that is a payment to Roe. One of the invoices that we approved at the last meeting, there were 6 invoices that we approved. I only found 5 of them that were paid. The one that's missing is invoice 0095573 in the amount of $5,762.50.
Yeah, that one got missed because I had left early and Jamie posted the invoice and she did it in a different manner than I do. So she didn't put a check run date in the spot where it's supposed to be. So it didn't pull it up when I did my check run. So it is scheduled to be paid. I can still pay it Tuesday. I can add it right to that other check. It just didn't make the report because she didn't put a check run date in there.
Okay, but we made the cutoff for the 2020 budget stuff?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep. That's why she posted it because I had left for a doctor's appointment. So she got it in there. She just didn't put a check run date. So it didn't pull into my report.
It's not showed up on the report. Okay.
But yeah, we caught it and it will be in there.
Okay. So Jane, just tell Jamie not to do that stuff and let you do that.
Good catch, Bill.
I tried to talk to her. We were on the phone. I tried to do it on the phone with her, but yeah,
yeah. All right. Thank you.
No more doctor's appointments for me.
Yeah.
Okay. That was all I had.
Okay. Anybody else have questions on that bill run? Again, we're no one unintended, Mr. Palmer, bill run. But on the first one, we were talking about the prepaid March 2nd, 140,000. Any questions on those?
Is this the one that has all the transport for prisoner fees on it? Or is that the next set?
I don't know. I have not had an opportunity to go through them yet.
Yeah, I was going through it before the meeting, and I just was kind of poking through there. I had a question about a couple of different things on there. One of them was, do we get compensated if we have to spend township funds to transport a prisoner? Was that to transport a prisoner to us, or to transport a prisoner that we apprehended to somewhere else?
Let me see.
I don't know. Well, I mean, to us, we don't. You mean to Iosco County? Because we don't have, we don't.
Yeah, I'm just look. There were a couple of meals on there, a couple of tanks of gas, some other fees. I'm scrolling through here looking for them, but I just.
Yeah, he doesn't list. All he wrote was prisoner transport. Yeah, on the gas receipt and.
Yeah, and I just wondered. Oh, there they are under Fund 211.
751.
For the police staffing fund, and then there's another one for the police, for the regular police fund. There's gasoline for prisoner transport, and then 2 patrol car gasoline and / meal. And I wondered if that do we get compensated for transferring prisoners? I mean, how does that all work?
I guess that would be a question for the chief.
Okay.
Feel like we do, but we can check on that. I would think that we
should.
Yeah, I think we do. I thought we did, but maybe not. We can check though. Okay.
And then let's see here. Just above that, there is under the zoning and planning, there's VSP, the March 2021 invoice. What's VSP for $8.78?
That's our vision plan.
Oh, the vision plan. Okay. Well, that was easy. And then I saw one for a bonfire in here.
That's our new credit card system out at Old Orchard. That's a $30 a monthly fee.
Okay, so that's a monthly credit card processing fee.
Yes.
Gotcha. And then there's another line item for. Oh, sorry, my my FedEx guys dropped stuff. Thank you. Let's see here. There was something for 50,000 BTU, but who it came from made me. I was wondering what that was. I should have wrote down the page numbers after my notes. I'm sorry. And then there's also a pretty whopping charter bill in here somewhere.
That's because that was from April of 2020 to December of 2020.
Okay,
that was the cleanup that Jamie mentioned a couple times that needed to occur.
Okay. I'm still looking for this. So that's the only one left is the bonfire. Oh, it's under Old Orchard Park as well. It just says bonfire off processor fee receipt for $30. Do we have to get some kind of?
That's just a monthly charge that they charge us $30 every month.
Who charges us?
Bonfire.
I'm sorry. I had it.
Yeah, you answered.
I'm looking for the 50,000 BTU. That's the last one. I'm scrolling through. I'm like, where is it? I saw it in here.
The BTU one. Was that for Ani Medical?
That's on the prepay?
Huh?
The 50,000 BTU was on the prepay list?
I want to say it was, but I can't. I should have wrote down the doggone page numbers. I will have to do that in the future. I don't see it on here.
I don't see it. I'm going through every bill and it just doesn't even sound familiar.
That might be on the next list then. It might not have been under the prepay.
Okay, I'll go through that one.
Yep, there it is. It's under Department 265, Township Hall and Grounds, Blue Tarp Financial, a 50,000 BTU NG garage. So it looks like some kind of heater, but it's coming, but it's from Blue Tarp Financial. I don't understand what that is.
Well, that's another name for Northern Tool and Equipment. They just want their checks made out to Blue Tarp.
Okay. So they just bought a garage heater basically, or one of those big bullet heaters or something.
Yeah, that's what it says on the description. 50,000 BTU NG garage.
Cool.
$419 and a $20 delivery charge.
Sounds good. It just caught me funny coming from Blue Tarp Financial that we're buying, but now that you've explained it, then it's like, okay, gotcha.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
Okay. Other than that, I'm good to go.
Okay, any other questions? All right, and we are done with questions, right? Or, yeah. Sorry, I got lost.
I can leave your meeting. You're finished with me?
I believe so. Thank you very much, Miss Jane.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
Thanks, Jane.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, so now on to Mitch. Superintendent report. Any questions on, I'll let you go, Mitch.
The first one, the unemployment insurance agency invoice, I think that's pretty straightforward. Unless there's a question.
Is that something really we need to have a motion on to pay? I mean, that's one of our, as an employer, we have these various taxes that we have to pay.
I'm guessing, Bill, it's maybe a protocol thing that's happened here where because of the large amount.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would tend to agree with you. I'll be honest with you, I would put it in the future. I would just put it under your regular finance payments. So
yeah, I mean, that's fine. We can have a motion to pay that, but that's one of the reasons that we, as trustees, we're charged with reviewing the payment of bills. And, these are the kind of things that come under the payment of bills. And if there's a question, we can, ask about it. But as an employer, we have these various fees that we have to pay, like, the unemployment insurance, workers' comp, all these various things. And we don't normally break those out in a meeting to have a motion to pay those, individually. But I mean, that's what you have it on there. We can approve that. It's not a big deal. I don't know that that's really necessary in the future.
Yeah, I think this is maybe a practice because it was provided to my office. I would agree with you, though. I just don't see this as something that pertains to a discussion or it should just be part of the natural portion of the payment of bills. Right.
So I did have a question on the first topic, the closed session.
Yes.
And we normally would schedule that prior to the 7 o'clock meeting time so that we don't have, all of the public sign into the meeting and have 25, 30 people then waiting while we exit a closed session. Plus, I don't know how you keep it as a closed session. The only solution to that problem I know of is to set up a second Zoom meeting with different meeting ID numbers and a pass code numbers. And we would exit the meeting and the board members would go to the other meeting. But that's the reason we have it prior to the board meeting is so that, the public isn't signed into the meeting and we're not making them sit there and wait for half an hour or an hour while we go into closed session. In past years, when I first came on the board, we used to hold the closed sessions after the meeting. That got to be pretty late sometimes. So we started putting them at the beginning and we try and figure out approximately how much time we're going to need, whether, we think half an hour or an hour, whatever it might be. and then schedule it, you know, accordingly, like at 6:30 or whatever. And so I just don't know how, if we tune into the meeting, how we turn it into a closed session with.
I think as the presenter, Ann can keep everyone in the lobby, if you will.
Yep, that's what we did the last time. Actually, everybody zooms in, which, you know, hopefully, I guess it's great to have public engagement. I'm not saying that, but it's just a little bit for me to go back and forth, to be honest. But we go into, basically, you do the roll call, pledge of allegiance, all of that, and then we have to have a motion to go into closed session. Go into closed session, and basically I put all those people then into the waiting room. So anybody that's not a board member, I just click on them and put them in the waiting room.
Okay, all right.
So, so then that takes them completely out of the participant list. I mean, I'm not a Zoom expert by any stretch of the imagination. So I assume, I mean, I'm getting better, and I don't have a problem doing that, but I assume that they can't hear anything when I put them in the waiting room. But correct. I'm just saying that, yeah, I'm not a, you know, quote unquote expert on that, but that's what we did the last time. So that we, you know, everybody zoomed in, we did our, you know, did our little agenda, and then we have a motion to go into closed session. At that time, it does take me a couple minutes. I have to, you know, put all those people in the, you know, in the waiting room. And then, you know, then we have to have a motion to come out of closed session and into the meeting. And then if there's any action taken, we would take it in the open session.
Yeah, well, I know we did that at a prior meeting. The thing was, at that meeting, we did have it at like 6 o'clock.
We did start it earlier. Exactly.
There weren't very many people to have to put into the waiting.
Exactly. Yep. And if they zoom in, like if we did it at, so, and the other problem, well, not the problem, I guess, but it'll just be, we start the meeting at 7, and when those people zoom in, I can't even acknowledge them, you know, if we're in closed session. So they're just going to be sitting there with a thing that says, host will let you in, you know, when it's time, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I just, that just doesn't seem like the right way to handle, you know, the public that have come to a meeting to listen to what we're going to talk about. I mean, if that's the way you want to do it, that's, you know, that's fine. We can do it that way. It just seems to me it might be better to schedule our meeting at like 6:30. The other thing that we normally have is the authorization to go into closed session based on a letter from our attorney with a date. And I'm just wondering if, are we planning to have our attorney available at this, or if there are legal questions that we.
Yes.
I think the attorney has to be present for us to be in a closed session. Isn't that?
No.
Not under.
No, you're going to have a closed session. I mean, you just have to have the correspondence, but.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we should have a letter from them with a date that we put on the agenda, at least for future reference, you know, based on letter from attorney dated, you know, whatever.
Right. Okay. Okay, so any other questions on the unemployment insurance agency invoice? Or we're all set there. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Al is a agenda sucker this time and has 4 agenda items. So
yeah,
Al's on the phone along with Mitch. You guys, yeah, depending what you got there.
Well, let's just take them one at a time. So you've got the blanket order. Blanket purchase order request. Yep. Basically, that's just to energize our campground store with supplies for the 2021 camping season. And that requires a really large amount of supplies. Sometimes there's real long waiting periods to receive those said supplies. And that amount exceeds the spending limits as per the township. So to make sure that the campground is fully stocked and ready for the year, this is something he does every year, is ask for this. And I guess, Al, you're on the line. You can talk about this much more.
Yeah, I've never done this till last year. Dave thought it would be a good idea to start doing it this way. It does require a large sum of money. Bill can attest to that from years past because he's mentioned it. But we can't get things to stock the store. If we paid $400 a time, it'd take us all summer to do it. So we can only purchase from some of the vendors in large amounts like that. They'll only come out for large amounts because we're so far out. So he just thought it'd be a good idea. We started doing this way. So you guys were aware that when you see these big purchases from my park, this is what it's for.
Yeah. And the only thing I would point to is the first item, the 726 for 8947.78, and the budget is only allocated at 7,300. I think we will need to do a budget amendment. I think we did one on the 2020 budget and amended that to 9,800 for that line item.
Yeah, so, there was a couple things that needed some amending, and I'm not sure why they were so low because that's not what was originally asked for, but maybe it was a mistake. Tammy does know about this, so she's aware of some of these things that I noticed earlier in the year, and I think that was one of them.
Yeah, I know in the amended budget for 2020, that line item was amended to 9,800. And so we probably will need to do that again. So so that the 8947 is covered.
Correct.
So
I know you have a huge job out there of filling the store and a lot of money spent in the beginning. But the good news is all of that money plus is recuperated over the course of the season when you sell those products. So
absolutely is.
It's just something that we have to do.
Correct.
I just want to make sure we cover the budget so that when they go to pay it, there's sufficient money there to pay it.
So is that $8,947.78? Is that the actual spent, or was that the original budgeted amount?
That's what he's asking too.
I think that was what was spent. I think that's what was spent.
Yeah, it says right. It says that's what was spent, and then a 2021 budget
is lower than what was spent
for the first line item. Yep.
Correct.
What was spent?
Everything else was. I don't know why it was lower. I don't know. What was spent
last year? You mean?
Yeah. So it looks like the first set of numbers is for what it looks like. It's listed as what was spent in 2020.
Right.
And then the next set of numbers is what's budgeted for this coming season.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and there's a 10%. If you look, it's a 10% increase, and that's a just in case. But it's still, the total amount is still under the budget. We just basically put in anything that was over $2,000. There's more there than just what you see. But Dave thought it was a good idea just to see which the $2,000 and above, that was where we started getting into the bigger amounts where you guys would be uncomfortable seeing that. So those are the only ones that were listed.
Well, and weren't they actually kind of, again, this PO system is relatively new, but weren't they looking at doing this kind of with utilities as well? So that you didn't have.
Yeah, we do it with everything now.
Yeah, right.
I mean, absolutely everything. We put it into the books, and then we give the hard copies so they see what we got, and then they give us a receipt. So that's how we've been, and that just started, I think, last year?
Right. Okay.
And to answer your question, Jeremy, about the bonfire charges, there's no difference between the bonfire charges and the charges we were getting before for our credit card machines. It's just called something different now.
Oh yeah, I just saw a bonfire and I was like, they have to.
Jeremy thought you guys were having a s'more party out there.
I did. I thought there was going to be a giant. We're going to burn all the leaves and all the pallets from all the stuff we got shipped in, and we have to get a permit for a giant bonfire. And I was like, well, when is that? I'll be there.
Yeah, you don't say those things here.
Yeah, Al, you're finally getting rid of the house out there.
What was that, Bill? Al, you're what?
He's having a bonfire. He's finally getting rid of the old condemned house out there.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that either, Bill. I have no idea what you're talking about.
We could sell that sucker. Just kidding. All right. Okay. Anybody have any other questions on that? The pre-approval then?
So we're basically going to pre-approve $72,450.73 for the to purchase all of the product that is required for the store for the 2021 season.
Correct.
Awesome. I'm good.
Yep. Okay.
So the next one is, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say the budgeted amount would be $100,300.
Right.
It's just the one line item that is requesting of 726, where we're only budgeting 7,300 that'll need to be adjusted.
Right.
Or amended, I guess, right word. That's all.
Okay, then any questions on the, what do we have? The return employee request?
Yes. So you've got his, Alan's memo about that for the 2021 camping season. Al, do you want to talk about that too?
Those are just people that we've had in the years past that we're assuming are going to come back. And it's just a lot quicker to get it done this way than once they're in the system, they don't need to reapply with a application. We just hire them back. They're already on the books. The only thing we make them do is fill out a new packet for bank and for anything else that we may adjust for the board. You know, if there's any changes in any of the rules, you know, we make them sign that. But other than that, this is just what I don't understand. I guess I don't understand why I got to have their names on it. I've got all these people that I'm requesting, and this is per the handbook, but it seems like the handbook, I think, should say, you know, the board approval for full-time people. Everybody I'm asking for is a seasonal worker. But the handbook does say that it needs to be approved by the board, all my hires.
So Al, have you heard from all these people are coming back for sure?
Not all of them, but the majority of them.
Okay. All right. So you may have to go out to hire a few extra people or something?
I always have to, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But because and some of them do fine jobs. I know for a fact 2 of them have other jobs and they're hawing on the fence about coming back, but I've been trying to work my magic and make them come back.
Okay.
Taken off. So.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Andy, I'm sorry. Any other questions? Is everybody good with that?
Pretty self-explanatory. Pretty self-explanatory.
Right. All right. So then we have the point of sale equipment purchase.
Okay. This is new equipment purchase and install by IT Right. You have the quote as part of the packet. I don't know if there's any questions about this. So
my only issue with that quote is that they're putting in UAP ACLR units, which are the long range units. I've had issues with those in the past where they don't handle the amount of bandwidth and traffic for a larger campground situation. I'd prefer to see the UAP AC Pro access point installed instead of the LRs. But if the board likes it the way it is, I mean, because if we do,
go ahead. No, let me jump in on that, Jeremy. That's actually a very good point. So my recommendation would be, to move this forward. Maybe, well, we'll certainly have time today to reach out if you want to send an email to Caleb. He will update the PL, or the quote. Sorry about that. But maybe what we can do to make sure that this topic keeps moving forward, because it is a timely, or I should say a time-sensitive topic, and chunk of work that needs to be done for Old Orchard. Maybe what we can do is on Monday night, approve, an amount up to, even though the quote may not be perfectly accurate with that particular model number.
Okay. I don't know what their markup and all that fun stuff is, but I can probably ballpark it well enough that we could give an overage amount to change all those access points to pros.
Yeah, my recommendation would be just kind of like with $100 or something like that. I mean,
it shouldn't be. Yeah,
right?
it should be really close to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see him put in.
To come back.
I just hate seeing him put in brand new Cisco switches and all this awesome professional gear, and then here's a little tiny access point for you guys to use. Hope it works out. I'd rather let's just get the pro stuff. It's awesome.
Can you give me that acronym that you were using just earlier?
It's the model number. It's Umbrella Alpha Papa dash Alpha Charlie dash Pro.
Pro.
Oh, Jeremy, you're funny.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jeremy, do you want to reach out to Caleb and share your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know if I have his contact info, but if you do and you want to forward it over to me, I'll send him an email after
I'll
this.
take care of it. I'll do that right now. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Did you say something, Josh?
Yeah, Jeremy, you wanted the UAPAC access in place of which one?
So there's a whole bunch of individual line items on here, and I don't know why they didn't just lump them all together into one purchase of 5 access points or however many are on here. But as I'm scrolling through here, like on the first page, line 5, quantity 1, Ubiquiti Unify UAP AC LR. And then a little bit down, line 9, Ubiquiti Unify UAPC or UAP AC LR. There's another one. And then a little bit further down on line 13, there's another one. That's 3. And then line 19, there's another one. That's 4. So it looks like there's 4 access points that they're going. These are indoor access points that are going to mount probably in their main facility areas for internet access or for wireless connectivity. Looks like they've broken it out per the buildings. That's probably why they line items separately. But I would rather see the UAP AC Pro access points substituted for the LR. The LRs, they just don't seem to be as good. I've had more problems with those than I have with the pros. And I just like the pro ones better. They have, they're just more powerful, a little bit more throughput, and they're a little bit more expensive, but not much. And I think it would be worth it to just go ahead and put in the pro gear and not have to deal with it in the future.
Good deal.
Okay, and that was all Chinese to me, so I'm good with what you guys want. So.
Just nod and smile.
Yeah.
Yeah, my eyes are glazed over.
I might have nodded off for a minute, to be honest.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, me too. I did have a question. I did have a question on this though to Al. Is this? I know in the description here it talks about the for the store, and helping to restock and keeping track of things. Is this also used in the office for campers to pay their fees and so on?
It'll be used through the whole park.
Right.
We've been having problems. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it happens all the time, but it's a lot easier to come to somebody's site and tell them that they got to come to the office to pay when we have everything in our hand and we come to the site and go, you need to pay. There's no way out of that one. So that's kind of what we're trying to stop out here. So by solving it, by doing something like this, we'll have, park wide, at least on the west end of the park, capabilities to do sales right on site.
Right. And I know in the past that was, it was because of the Wi-Fi there was almost non-existent, weren't able to have those kinds of features. And now with the new upgraded Wi-Fi at the park, allows you to have those features where you can actually just go to a campsite and pay right on the spot, and then also for the store and all around the park. So
this has been in my works for probably 5 years before this was even a reality that I wanted to do this, and now it's finally happening. And it's I'm unaware of kind of some of the stuff too. Tim's been helping a lot. And Caleb has too. And I kind of want to see it come to fruition. However, like Tim said, it's getting low on time. We open here shortly, and before you know it, I'll have people here. So I kind of want to get everything in place before I get a park full of campers.
Here's a question.
It seems like a fairly, minor payment, $2,600 to be able to, give you the ability to do all those things. That seemed, I guess if we'd have had the Wi-Fi capability, like you said, 5 years ago, this is a pretty small amount to pay to make that happen. So I'm happy that we're able to get that going.
9 years ago, I was using dial-up.
I remember that.
I'm not kidding you.
I remember that.
And as of last year, he was using HughesNet to try to get some internet. So to basically to put an additional point on this request to the board, this is really just an upgrade of rather bringing the equipment at the Old Orchard Park offices and the buildings up to snuff, where they can be these devices can be supported by IT Right. And then as we move forward with the IT Right relationship, these devices don't become something that's antiquated that then has to be upgraded later. So it's really just a matter of, here we are, let's get it done right now.
Awesome.
All right.
Does that bonfire thing that you're using for your payment structure, is that, do they have like a mobile app that you're walking around to the campsites and saying?
We do. We actually use Clover, but in order to make it work with Bonfire, we had to get the Bonfire plan, which is just like our old credit card plan, but we're using a mobile device, and it's like a walk around credit card machine. And on this machine, you can do all your services. You can look and see all. It's really, if you'd like to come out one day, Jeremy, and look at it. I mean, You're kind of a techie guy. You would be like, wow, I was amazed.
A little bit. So they tell me. I'm just the guy sitting here. Okay, so they actually provided Clover provided a unit that interfaces with Bonfire. So you're not walking around with an app on your smartphone saying, here's my smartphone, sign here. There's actually a device that they have provided that connects to the Wi-Fi and keeps those payments secured.
That application, I also have a tablet which we can access for our rangers to access our Bonfire guests that are here. So they can look up on Bonfire right real time on this tablet anywhere they want to go and see who's supposed to be where.
Cool.
And if they notice that this guy, because we do check-ins twice a day, check-ins and check-outs, if they notice somebody is on something that's not supposed to be there or is early, we can identify it quickly and get them paid and taken care of. So it'll be a lot more convenient for our staff as well as some of the campers coming in here.
Has anybody talked about the integrating Bonfire and your Clover system with the online payments for the website? I know that we've been talking about doing some of that.
That is, as soon as we get taken care of with this stuff from IT Right, it'll all integrate. It's all working together. However, and I was unaware of this, so the router I had purchased was something that they were unaware of the brand. They didn't like it. They wanted to put their own brand. And, Tim had a great point. They'll service their own brand. They update their own brand. They take care of that. So we're waiting for them to get this stuff in here. When they get this on, we can get our online services going and start taking reservations.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right.
Very good.
Let's move to the 2021 operation plans for Old Orchard Park and Footsite. Questions?
47 pages of fun. It basically is something I have to do every year per our lease agreement. If we do any changes in our operations for anything, I put it in there and she sees it, because this also gets submitted to Consumers Power.
Steve has joined us, just to let everybody know.
Heyo.
Hello.
Hi, we're on, Steve, we are on under superintendent's report. We are at the Old Orchard Park plans. So that's where we are.
Okay.
And I guess I just take this opportunity, Al. Mitch and I zoomed in on a call with consumers, and they had rave reviews about you.
They did.
And yes, they did. I guess
your
I
whole
just
team, actually, the whole team. So
yep, every single one of them.
Kudos
reviews
to
about
you and your kudos to
Yep.
you and your staff.
Yep. So
Well,
good to
you.
hear.
Thank
Good
you.
to hear. And I will be sharing that publicly Monday night as well. And I'll have the proper names because my literally brain just went blank on their names. But I have talked to her numerous times. But anyways, they said how you are always ahead of the schedule, getting stuff to them, and just a pleasure to work with. So they might not have used the word pleasure, but everything was positive. But
I'll use it. That's okay.
yeah, but anyways, good. I know sometimes all you hear is negative sometimes, you know, from angry campers, but there's a lot of people that think positive. So, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to hear.
How are those new hot water tanks?
Oh, Lord. What do you want to know about those?
Are they done, installed? Everybody's happy?
They are not installed. The employee for the township that was supposed to install them is no longer employed here. So we are getting bids to have them professionally installed.
Ah, okay.
A very, very unfortunate situation, but that's where we're at.
Did you guys ever settle on a maintenance plan? I was asking Mitch about that, and I didn't ever hear back on the whether or not you guys had sat down. Do you actually flush those suckers once a year?
We do. No, actually, they're flushed twice, 2 or 3 times a year.
Cool.
Gary does them every single year.
Right on. And you guys use some kind of like CLR or something to kind of flush the
household
scaling?
vinegar.
Good enough. Okay.
Yeah, just a side note, Al, as long as you're still here with us, the bike path committee, you know, we're working on phase 3, which will come from the school up to, hopefully we can get the funding to bring it all the way up to your park. We're going to have an agreement for maintenance on that path.
Right.
And what that will entail is, since most of that path is a crushed, packed gravel path, right. The maintenance will basically amount to removing, you know, tree limbs or things that fall on the path, and then maybe blowing out the leaves in the fall, where we're not going to be maintaining the path in the wintertime. Okay. At one of the previous IET meetings, I mentioned your name, and they said, "Oh, well, we know that part of the path will be well cared for then." So,
yes, it will.
So that's just for future reference. No problem. We're going to be counting on you and your staff there to at least take care of the section of the path from Rio Road out to the park there.
It will be done. No problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on the operations plans? It's kind of a lot to dive through, probably. Yeah. But if we have any before, are you going to be zoomed in Monday night as well, Al?
I'll be out of town Monday night, okay. But Tara and Gary will both be zoomed in, and they'll be able to answer questions if you have any.
Okay, sounds great.
Do you have any questions for the board, Al?
I do not.
Cool.
You're doing a good job, guys. Thank you.
I was just thinking when I look through this plan, Al, it doesn't look a whole lot different than previous years. Not a lot of changes, but.
Mm-hmm. No, there isn't. The one change that you may notice is with the reservation system that we're now offering a refund policy.
Yes.
And that's about the only change you'll see. I had to put that in there. I want to make sure that you guys take a look at that and read it, because we've never offered a refund out here. I never do refunds, but if you're going to be able to make a reservation as far in advance as I'm going to allow you to, I should be able to give you a refund less an administrative fee if something ever comes up within a certain amount of time. So I think it's fair. Just about every campground I've ever run or dealt with offers this, so it's not out of the ordinary.
Makes sense.
What page is that on? Do you know off the top of your head?
I do not.
Okay.
It'd be down near the bottom, 3/4 of the way through.
Okay. I'll find it. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Al.
You're very welcome. Have a good night.
All right. You too. Okay. Last on is the Venetton Lake Special Assessment District.
Well, it is the time where we have to reestablish a special assessment district. I will say Ann had personal knowledge of how it was established prior. And she did a good job at getting all this together based on her previous knowledge and how this occurred. So although I can answer maybe generalized questions, super specialized questions might even be better directed at the supervisor. So any questions about that? I know, is it Bill? I think you're part of that district, are you not?
Yeah, I live on the lake. Yeah, I live on the lake, and I was supportive of having this special assessment district. I don't know, 10 years or so ago, we had some serious problems with Eurasian milfoil in the lake, which is an invasive species, and having this program in place on a regular basis year over year has really helped with that. There were times when the north end of the lake up there, the people, they couldn't even get out into the lake. The weed situation would be so bad because that's generally where the worst of the weed things are, simply because it comes down from the Pine River.
Pine River, right.
And that causes a lot of problems. But with having this regular program in place where they do the same thing every year, and they survey the lake and then treat the areas that need to be treated, this really has worked out quite well. And we're not spending nearly as much each year to do this as we did way back when it first started.
Right.
So,
which has been actually around since 2005. Jamie did a search, and a 2004 tax records show no special assessment. So we think it's been at least 2005. I know it was here the whole time I was previously employed. We did, again, as Mitch pointed out, I pulled up the paperwork where we renewed in 2016. That was something that was one of my responsibilities as the community development coordinator. So pulled that information out along with the act and shipped it to our interim attorney to review to make sure that what we had done was correct and were there any changes that had occurred that they would suggest. So there were a couple little things in the notice, which I implemented with that first resolution. And then there's actually the notices that go for the second hearing. But, and then we have, in a proactive manner, let Nancy know, Swiker, because she's gonna have to run, the new role and everything. So she's been made aware of what's coming down the pipeline and the time frame. But we did change in 2016. It used to be a $50,000 collection that occurred every year. And if there was carryover, it went to the next year, and our attorney did not like that. And so in 2016, when we renewed the special assessment district, we actually did it where we have a not to exceed amount of $70,000, and that includes the lake manager. And basically the township up fronts the cost for the whole season. And then at the end of the year, that total is then put on the winter tax bill for the association. And it worked quite well for the last 5 years of doing that. And they know it will never exceed $70,000. And then they're only charged for what's actually spent, not just the question mark of the 50,000 each year. So anyways, but like Bill said, been very successful. I can't imagine what that lake would be like without the assistance that.
Yeah, you need to have an ongoing plan.
Yeah.
And if you stay on it year over year, it actually reduces your cost. The only question I had is in terms of the resolution itself. Mm-hmm. Is it included language will be approximately $60,000. Do we really need to include that in there?
According to the attorney, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then, oh God, I just had a train of thought and I lost it. Oh, the Vila group they have a subcommittee, which is the weed committee. And they, are a great, Vila itself is a great group, but they're the ones who work directly with the lake manager. And the lake manager, goes on site, assesses the lake and then comes up with a plan, you know, and they do it a couple times a year, depending on what, you know, if there's new algae blooms or anything. But I will point out that the lake manager, Lake Pro, their contract expired in December of 2020. And my suggestion, this is actually what happened before in 2016, is we extended 1 year with that lake manager, so that, because otherwise you would have to go out to bid for a new lake manager, and then the new lake manager has to go out for bid for the herbicide applicator. And that would be very difficult to do in a timely manner to, you know, and that's if we get the SAD in place again. So I've already let the Vila group know, and we got a price quote from Lake Pro that they would, you know, honor their what they've done for the last couple of years, which is $10,000. So that'll be coming down the pipeline as well. I just want to give you a heads up on that.
Yeah, thanks, and I think that's a good move. They've always done a good job for us.
Right, and you know, and if Vila had an issue with them, I mean, and they didn't. They said they've worked very well with them. So because we're going to be cutting it kind of, or they're going to be cutting it kind of close as it is to get out to bid for the herbicide applicator.
And is the contract normally annual, or is it otherwise longer term if it's approved by the board?
It's normally 4 years. For the lake manager, the special assessment district is 5 years. And then the last time that this contract was in place is actually back, you know, when I was here, or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was in 2017 is when they signed, and it was a 4 year. So, and so we go out to bid. It used to all be handled by my office. I don't honestly know who's the liaison now. I don't know if, you know, if the former superintendent was being the liaison with the Lake Association or not. I don't know how it was, how after I left, how things went, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But I did talk with Rick Copeland, who is the current Vila president, and you know, they wrote the letter to ask us to, you know, to recreate the SAD. They will, you know, be available if we need to for the public hearing. We can also request that Lake Pro either Zoom in or be there, depending on, you know, what's going on with our in-person meetings or not. So. Any other questions on that one?
Did you get Microsoft Office installed on your system yet?
No. No.
You should have a license for that from IT, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because if you're using Outlook and all that stuff, the Microsoft Office suite is part of what we're paying for them. So you might just have to call them up and have them install that for you. You should have it. Sounds good.
All right. So moving on, where did my agenda go? We're to other. We have a firefighter hire. Wait, no, I'm sorry. We have all the resolutions. Are there any questions on any of the resolutions?
Oh, just one comment, Ann, on the SAD district. On the second page of Mitch's review here, you have on there for would be April 22nd. For the next meet, it would actually be the April 26th will be our board meeting. Just so if you're advertising it.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I might have been pulled in old. Sure. You always get me with my numbers, Bill. Just kidding. All right.
I like numbers.
I probably just carried it on. Yeah, March 22nd. Because the March 22nd is, and then it would be April 26th, right? Would be the last. So I must have just carried the March 22nd, and then I carried on. So
yeah, no big deal. Just want to make sure if you have to run an ad.
Once we get that, for sure. Thank you. 26. Okay, so resolutions. Does anybody have any questions on the resolutions?
I do. I don't know if it's necessarily the kind of question you wanted, but I just wanted a clarification.
Depends on if they're long or not. Yeah, just kidding.
So it's the second one, 2105.
Okay.
And my question had to do with the very last couple paragraphs under the heading of recommendation of short-term rental fees. What are we referring to here? Like apartments or something, or what are we talking about there?
Oh, you mean 20? Yeah, 07. Oh, it's
yeah, it's resolution 07.
07. Yeah, that's for. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. Then I just didn't. Yeah, I just didn't look forward for the resolution on it. So this has to do with, again, rental fees of apartments, or
no, it's the like Airbnb kind of thing.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
So anything that's, well, what qualifies as a short term? Just overnight, or something less than like a month? What is the actual definition?
I'm guessing.
I would have to pull out the ordinance, Tim, to tell you what that is, but we did write an ordinance to cover short-term rentals. And we hired a company called Host Compliance to manage that whole system for us. And their fee is a little over $12,000. And the way we offset that is by charging a permit fee to each one of the places that offer these services. And so that's why the Planning Commission went over this at our last meeting, and we're making a recommendation because the board actually sets any fees for permits and that sort of thing. And the way Eric has broken it out, they've said that there are 77 places here and within the near. I don't know if it's quite that many, but what it comes down to, you divide the 12,000 by that, you get $156.31. I would suggest that the board sets the permit fee a little higher than that, just to make sure that we're covering the cost of that contract if there are fewer than the 77 units that are available.
And is that a yearly? That's an annual fee for these people to pay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't this one of the first things that we talked about? And I
voted no
when we took office. If I remember right, we had a citizen actually complain at the next meeting about this.
Yeah.
And
not a fan.
And when we were talking about it, I was under the impression that there weren't going to be any fees for the township. That this organization that was supposed to be handling this was doing it and basing it off of fees that are collected from the Airbnb rentals, and that the township was not going to be billed for this service. Am I incorrect?
That is incorrect. Yes.
That's not correct. No, we pay them to manage the overall system, and the way we recoup our money on the contract is by charging a fee for a permit fee for each one of the units. So technically, it doesn't cost the township anything.
If we implement a permit fee, if we don't, then it does. It costs us the $12,000, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. And what are we getting for the $12,000? I'm sorry. What are they managing?
Everything. All the calls from all the any people there, anything that has to do with the rental, they would contact them. Their information is at each one of the sites for people to contact. They don't need to contact the township.
You mean if they have an issue? Because otherwise they're dealing with Airbnb and the property or the host.
Yes.
So, okay, yeah. Which is why I wasn't in support of it.
And I'm Pandora's box, man.
Huh?
I'm glad I opened this Pandora's box. Thank you.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
No, that's why I voted no for it to start with. So not a fan. So just as a heads up, I'll be, not supporting the resolution either. But anyways. All right. So any other questions on any of the other resolutions? Then we have firefighter, the new firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
Any information that we need on that before Monday?
Yeah, I would assume that'd be covered by Mitch or the clerk, hiring process stuff. But I mean, and McGregor.
Yeah, right. But I mean, nobody has any questions they need answered before Monday night to be able to act.
None for me.
What's a fire chief?
He's recommending doing it, and he's done a background check, and he's a prior firefighter. So.
That means he likes to fire people, Jeremy. That's
I was just, I wasn't going to take it there. I just wanted to point it out. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, when I was the president of the, I digress, but when I was the president of the athletic boosters, one time I sent an email out that had us as the athletic boozers.
Oh.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
Funny how a little mistype can change everything.
Whoopsie-daisy. Yep. Yeah, whoopsie. All right. Next one, we have the division of platted lot. Does anybody have any questions on that or need additional information for Monday?
No, it was supplied just fine for me.
Yeah, I know that area, Alabama, is a little bit tricky out there. So, there's a lot of overlapping stuff that people do, but I know Nancy reviews everything. So,
yeah.
They said so that the neighbors can tentatively build on that in the future. Do they need that extra 10 feet to have? It didn't look to me like it
looks like they have 100 feet, but they're going to have 110, but you only need 80 feet on the lake. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if they want to sell to them, it's fine with me.
Yeah.
Right.
They're more than 80 feet, so they're fine either way.
All right. And then we have a rezoning request. Everybody have like everything in there that we need?
Yeah, this was a request that we went through in the planning commission, and it's out off River Road there at Vaughn Trail, where it goes back in there. And there's a parcel that is already waterfront marine. And then there's this other parcel that's approximately 15 acres that's zoned industrial, which is the part that's right along River Road. And they want to change that to waterfront marine as well. So the whole thing would be waterfront marine. And we thought that made sense at the planning commission to do that.
Right.
Did the drawing just not come through, or is there just not one?
I didn't print when I printed, let me see, I print my packet out. There was a drawing. You mean like a zoning map drawing? Is that what you mean?
Under the rezoning application, page 3 of 4, there's a site plan drawing, and I've actually seen this page because I was looking at doing for other reasons. But it says that once the property dimensions a two scale drawing on this little grid here, kind of showing what they're planning on doing, and I don't see that. It just looks like a blank page.
I think I listened to it when they presented it to planning. I think there is a drawing. So I remember
there is.
Yeah, the planning commission went over it.
So does that need to be included in this for review, or does it really matter? I don't know. I just like to see drawings. I'm a drawing guy. Helps me visualize it. And when the page is there and it's blank, I just wanted to find out why.
Well, if there is a drawing, then it should be, we'll just get it out, get it online and get it out to everybody, because it should be in there, right? It's part of the packet for the case.
Yeah, Eric has a diagram of that was presented at the plan, and he can send that out to everybody, I think.
Oh, it says, yeah, however, if the current survey is not available, the applicant may use the grid area below or a similar format to provide the required survey information. So there probably is a drawing. It just didn't get stuck in here. So
right. Yep. According to both Bill and Steve, there is. I was zoomed in too, but I guess I don't remember.
Good enough for me.
Okay. So we'll just get that out to everybody, or
that'd be fine.
If we can. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that ends the agenda items. Any other questions and answers, or?
Yeah, and I had one request that I would like to make at Monday's meeting is an agenda addition. Just a brief. I wanted to talk a little bit about the fishing pier and the handicap kayak launch at Ratliff Park. I got a call from Rick Freeman just this afternoon, and he has all of the the tentative drawings and the cost of what that will be. And what he wanted to do is ask me if I would bring it up at Monday's meeting. We don't have to take any kind of vote on it, but just to get the board familiarized with what they're doing and what it's going to be. And I think he was sending that to Mitch as well. You should have gotten that, Mitch. And what he's hoping to have then is at the next meeting on the 22nd, we would pass a resolution to go out for the grants that are available to fund this project. It will be a matching grant of some percentage. I don't think it will be a huge amount for the township, but the other part of that is that Vila has made an offer to make a contribution. That's how this whole thing got started. They contacted me to see about getting this handicap kayak launch put in place. And when I approached Ro's donating their engineering services and surveying and everything they've done free of charge to the township. But I just wanted to add that so we can at least discuss it a little bit so the board's aware of it. And then at the following meeting, we will have a resolution to go out for the grant funding for that.
Okay. Do we want Rick to present that, Bill, or so we could maybe do an agenda edition like at the beginning so you could zoom in and maybe do like a little presentation at the beginning? I don't know if Rick's going to be available Monday. He normally comes to the second meetings of the month. Mm-hmm. He was on the road when he called me this afternoon, and he asked me if I could see if I could just add it to the agenda just to discuss it a little bit. We don't have to go into any big detail or have any votes or anything like that. Just so the board is aware of where we're at, what the amount is. I have the cost approximate, and just so the board's aware of what we're doing, so that when it comes up for the to approve the resolution at the next meeting, the board, all the board members will be aware of what we're talking about. Okay, so we'll just put it under other then? Yeah, we can. Yeah, wherever you want to put it. I will make it ask if we do an agenda addition for that item. Okay. When we start, and if you want to put it under other, that'd be fine. Well, I'd put it earlier in the agenda if Rick was going to zoom in, because I wouldn't want to keep him hanging out all night. But if he can't zoom in to do the presentation, then I think under other is where it would make sense. Yeah, I would agree. I don't think he's going to be available Monday, but I think that's why he called and asked me if I would see if we could stick that in there Monday night, and I can talk about it a little bit. And I think Mitch, you should have received that email with the information as well. I think. Looking right now, it probably did come. Yes. Yep, came late today. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Okay, sounds good. And that was all I had. Okay. Anybody else?
I've got an addition as well. At the last work session, I requested to have on this agenda a discussion about the facility security and access to the township facilities, and I don't see that on here either. That can be under other. It doesn't need to be. I just wanted to get the ball rolling for starting to talk about getting key card access to the different areas that the township employees need access to for ease of access, less keys. We know where the keys are. We know how many keys there are, et cetera, so on and so forth.
Well, I thought the discussion that we had, we're kind of like talking about selling Ani Medical. So, we're really just talking about the township hall, and then correct me if I'm wrong, there and maybe DPW, or are we talking about the library, everything? Yeah.
I mean, everything that would be part of the conversation that I was looking to have is which, are there facilities that don't need it? Are there facilities that need it more than others? Do we want it at all?
All right. I feel like, and again, I'm not trying to say we can't put it on the agenda, but I feel like it's more of a work session discussion, or even, because this sounds like it could be, I don't know how expensive something like this is, but even talking about a budget, when we start talking about the 2022 budget, maybe looking in that way, so that we can bring some ideas of the different, I'm drawing a blank, what do you call them? Systems, I guess, that you could use, you know, and just, you know, because it's going to talk, it's going to need electrical, it's going to need all that. I don't know about this forum, I guess, for, you know, being able to really brainstorm, you know, per se. So that's just my thought.
What forum would you recommend instead?
I guess more like I mean, we're almost at an hour and a half on this work session. So I don't think we'd put it on this, but maybe on the next, either the work session that we talk about a board meeting, or when we start talking about the 2022 budget, in that way.
Well, I would prefer to start talking about it a little earlier so that we have numbers for the budget if we decide to move forward on it. So I will, yeah, we can move it to the next work session, and I'll look for it.
Yeah, I just think it's a better forum, Jeremy.
That's fine. I appreciate that. I just want to start the conversation so that we can, you know, if we're going to move forward with it, then we can actually have, I mean, we're already having problems with contractors. It's been 2 weeks and we can't get guys out to quote a heating cooling unit for an office.
Right.
You know, and if we're going to have to deal with that kind of delay with contractors even building quotes, then the sooner we start talking about whether or not we even want it, the better. So.
Right. Okay. Is everybody else good with that? Putting on a work session discussion?
Yep.
Just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Sure. Thanks. Thanks for being accommodating, Jeremy.
Betcha.
All right. Anybody else? I know you do. Any other questions or answers or, follow-up stuff? I think we have, I guess my takeaways here for Monday night is we were going to get maybe an answer on police transport. Do we get reimbursed for prisoners? I think that you, Jeremy, we're going to reach out with Caleb maybe on that PO.
Yes.
Okay.
If he submits a new PO before the meeting, is it would that be too late for him to change the PO that's on the agenda?
No.
Or to add it? Okay.
No. As long as we can get it to the public and everything else, shouldn't be. No, that'd be better than a not to exceed amount of just a wild item.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, and then we're going to reach out with Eric on that case number 302/2020 for the rezoning to get that map.
I already sent him an email about that. So.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Efficient.
Yeah, but I've already sent one to the chief too. So.
All right. Okay. Good. And then agenda additions. We're going to add Ratliff Park Fishing Pier. Is that an ADA ramp? Something like that. Monday night, right?
Yeah. I'll make it quick. It'll just be a brief discussion about that and what's involved.
Okay, and is that email that Roe sent, Mitch, is there like pictures or something, or is it just email talking about the project? Just wondering what can be sent out to everybody.
There's diagrams.
There's a construction plan and a construction cost opinion.
Okay, so if we could all get that and then get that uploaded, if Tammy could upload that in the packet for backup for the agenda edition, that'd be great, I think. Did I miss anything?
What plans are you going to get, Mitch?
The Ratliff
work on that, yeah.
Park Fishing Pier, the stuff from Roe that they just
gotcha.
That agenda edition that we're going to get. And then the map, I don't know if that's what you were talking about, Josh, but he already emailed out Eric to get that map that wasn't included in the packet for that rezoning so that we have that for Monday night.
And then those plans for Roe was for the handicap canoe launch?
Yes. Yep. The fishing pier. And then actually I forgot those meeting minutes. There was quite a few motion and supports that we're going to check on that Bill pointed out. So we'll check on those and get those, if they are incorrect, get those corrected in the meeting minutes and get those uploaded as well. Okay. All right, with that, are you ready for me to open public comment? I believe we have one public on the line. And actually, I'm sorry, Steve. Steve, you were, I know you were coming back from someplace. Did you have anything on the previous items that you weren't here for that you had a quick question?
No, I'm good. I'm just
had
a chance to really review it today. So.
Okay, all right. Just want to give you that opportunity. Okay, so are we ready then for public comment?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. All right. I am going to ask, I believe it's Brian Haley by the phone number, but I could be wrong. All right, Brian, you're on if it's you.
Okay. You can
Public
hear
comment.
me then, right?
Yep, I can, or we can. Mm-hmm.
All right. So, a meeting a while back alarmed me from Mr. Palmer's statement. He had confusion on the Open Meetings Act. Mr. Worcester had some words that I had agreed with, so I reviewed it because I had read it years ago, and, you know, I always got to study. Now, I'm not going to get into all of this, but I'm asking for this board to review everything within the Open Meetings Act if you have not done so far. Under Michigan compiled laws that are from the Michigan legislature, when you go into closed session, there's very few things you can go into closed session for, and they're denoted there. And there's the Attorney General's opinion from there, but certainly one of the things they talk about is you cannot go into closed session discussing what you did on December 14th of 2020 to discuss privileged confidential information from letter dated 9 December 2020 from the township attorneys regarding the sale of real property. The Attorney General, he has verbiage on this where a letter from an attorney, any attorney, is not a cover to conduct a closed door session. They're clear on this. Now, for you to go into closed door, and this was discussed tonight with Palmer, but it wasn't dug into. When you go into closed door, you need to be in open session. You need to cite your reason. The Attorney General is clear on this also. So a guy like me could say, hey, what are you going in the closed session for? Because a mere letter from an attorney is not an excuse to go into closed session, especially when we're talking about real property. So what I'm calling for right now, and we'll follow up Monday, review all of this, and I want this December 14th meeting, which was in closed session, which I'm contending was actually ill-advised, could be illegal. We shall see. If that's available on Zoom, then we need to put out that whole meeting. That's what we need to do and set the record straight. I don't know which property we're talking about, but in the time frame, it looks like we're talking about something going on with Furtaw or wherever else. You have no business no standing going into closed session to sell township real property. And I want to make that clear, and we can discuss this more Monday, okay? The other thing, and this is important, over the past year, on occasion, and Josh, this is not Josh Sutton's fault, our clerk, I have been blocked from Gmail and email going to the clerk's office, and I'm tired of it, and it's wrong. So when I do reach out to the Attorney General, because folks, I'm in a weird position. I love my town, but we are going to court over this. Now, I've reviewed this stuff, and I already have pro bono attorneys that will take this on. I don't want to do it. I have no desire to do it. If any money comes out of this, it will be given to the people because I care about this town. Let's get it right. Let's review this stuff. If you find time over the weekend, we will discuss this more Monday. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Okay, I do not believe that there are any other, nobody else is on the line. So that being said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Oh, board comment real quick.
Nope, that's not on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Don't need a motion.
Nope. Move
Don't
to adjourn.
Need a motion. No
right,
motion.
So we're just adjourning.
No motion.
All right, no motion.
Have a good weekend.
All right,
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good weekend. Okay,
Yep.
bye.
Right.
Bye.